All right, so good morning, nest makers. We're on day 21, and now I'm going to say that silly thing that I said last week, something about if the days we've been working on this were ages of a person, they could now successfully go to a bar. Again, it makes no sense. It makes about as much sense as waking up this morning to make a tutorial to create a game for a 30 some odd year old console. But hey, we're all here for it, right? So, super excited about you guys hanging in with me and getting through these tutorials. Let's do some. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do next, and the goal is that right now I'm spending time working on my narrative. I'm not even constructing levels yet. So we did this thing where we made this cooler start screen yesterday, and it's cool. And I could continue to get in and get rid of tiles that I don't want and get in here and make some cooler stuff. Like I could put some of the bricks in here or something like that. But that's all details. What I really want to do is I want to add some new functionality to the storytelling of the game. And there's a bunch of ways that I could do this. One of the ways is to have cutscenes. And, maybe when I go from here, I don't go right from here to the game. When I press start, I go to a cutscene first. And then after that, when the cutscene, it goes to the game. And I'm not going to allow for any interaction. Like I'm going to let myself skip the cutscene. I'm going to use a timer. And there's a few different things that we could do to use a timer. We could do it in code, or, and this is fun, we could use an object that will act as a timer. So let's use an object that acts as a timer because it's going to be less code. I think we have to do like 1 or 2 lines of code and that's it. But we're not going to get into any variables or anything like that. We're just going to use a game object and we're going to call it cutscene timer. And we're going to use that to go from a cutscene to wherever its warp is. So it could go to another cutscene or it could go to another cutscene. I can make a whole nother row of these, these sort of screen specific, these 8x8 pixel tile graphics, like the win screen and the lose screen and the thing. Or, whatever. I could just make it a normal screen where we just have visual things happening. And I could use this method to do all sorts of this timer method to do all sorts of things. We're just going to use it quick to be able to go, to this screen. It says, oh no, you found yourself in a deep, dark dungeon. And maybe it gives us the rules. There's a mysterious push block in front of you, something like that. Just so we know what to do. And then after a timer goes off, it'll end up going to my first screen instead. So the first thing I need to do is go to this screen. So I need this, and when I press start, it needs to warp to this screen, which is 314 instead of 00. So to do that, what I can do is I can say I want this to go to 314. This will determine where my warp goes to, which is what start game and set new continue points will do. And what it'll do is it'll take me here. So I'm just going to test this by changing my tiles to the text tiles there, which was 2, no, 1. Yeah, 1. Okay. Hitting OK. And I'm just going to put an exclamation point in the middle just to make sure that I go here. I need to make sure that I set warp in location. I need to make sure that I put that somewhere. And I probably don't want this to be a main game. I don't want it to be a start screen. I don't want it to be a win screen. I'm going to make a new game state where my inputs don't affect anything, or maybe I want them to. But I'm going to call this game state cutscene. So in order to change the name of this game state, I'll just come into project settings. I'll look at, I can look at, where is game state? Game states. And you can see there's game state 3. I can change what game state 3 says, and I'll call this cutscene. So now it won't say it yet, but if I go off and come back and refresh, you can see I had changed it, and now it says cutscene. So let's just make sure I'll hide sprites and hide HUD on the cutscene and hit OK. And for right now, there we go. And now I press start, and instead of going to the start screen, it goes here. And now I want to set up a timer that's going to take me to the new screen. So I could do a timer the way that we've been doing timers, which is I go in as soon as I press the start button, I would change the script to also trigger a timer. When that timer goes off, it would also tell this to jump to a warp. I could do that, and that would require only a couple lines of code. But instead, we're going to make a timer object. So I'll make effect 0 my timer. I don't know. There's no real reason why. It's not going to have any graphics associated with it. So I'm going to pick a blank tile if I can. It's not really going to matter because I'm hiding this anyway. But I'm going to rename this to cut scene timer and save. I'm going to go to object details. The only detail that I really need to do, I'm sorry, before I go to object details, I'm going to go to magic. I can rename this manage animation times up or something like that. And I'm just going to give it, do yourself a favor, give it 7 frames of animation. Some of the modules have a little bit of a bug on the 8th frame of animation. And so we're just going to use seven frames of animation. And I'm going to go into my actions. And you can see they're all going to use times up this object. Don't need to do anything here. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to be any type of object for collision. In my actions, I need to set a timer. So you get to decide, how fast you want this animation timer to be. And we can test some things and we can see how it works. This is going to be pretty quick. Let's try right in the middle here. And what I'm going to say is at the end of the animation, I want it to go to warp, which will go to whatever the screen has set up for a warp. I could also use an action timer if I wanted instead of an animation timer. So those are just 2 different options I could do. So I could have done an end action and I could have gone to warp 2. I'm going to just set up an animation. There's no, I don't know why, honestly. They're both 6 one, half dozen another. I'm also going to give it a bounding box, hit close, and make sure that's saved. Okay. And come back to overworld. I want this to go to this screen. So when I trigger warp, it's going to go to whatever's right here, which that's what I want, 0, 0. Okay. And I want to put it in, but notice, oh no, I can't put any game objects in here. Don't forget what I got to do in order to do that. I got to go to screen info, day monsters. I need to give it a monster group. Even if I'm not going to put any of these monsters in here, I need to have a monster group assigned in order for me to add any objects. So now I can place my monster and I can put my cutscene timer in here. Don't see it. What I might want to do just to make sure that I have a timer in here is I could give it a graphic and then just go to screen info and hide sprites, and I wouldn't see it anyway. So, but this just allows me to not hide sprites. Like if I wanted sprites to be moving around the screen or draw some sprites or whatever, have an object. This would allow me to have it on the screen without having to see it. It's visually nothing. So I'm going to test my game right now, and what I should get is instead of just going to the first screen, I'm going to go to the exclamation point screen, and after a couple seconds, it takes me to the first screen. So now I've got a very easy method of setting up a cutscene. And I could devise some graphics for this cutscene. I could make, in fact, you know what? No, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And we're going to do maybe even a textless scene. So I'm going to go into my pixel editor and I'm going to open up BCKCHR6, the next available one. And I'm just going to draw something in. I don't know. You know what? No, I lied. I'm going to make this almost like I made my start screen. Remember how I did that? I made a new BMP, 128 by 128. Turn this on. I'm not going to use, I could use this entire thing if I wanted to. In fact, I'm going to show you how to use this entire thing. So I'm going to, now remember, this is not the size of a screen. This is half the size of a screen. So I want to make like a character waking up in a dark dungeon looking place. I think 3 was the next one. Again, I should name these. I'm going to do this. I want him to wake up in a dungeon. I'm going to sort of have like a wide screen thing. So I'm going to make some bricks. And I'm going to make them, let's see. We did this a little bit before. We did like the 3 colors of the bricks, mid and dark. Remember that? So I took the mid and I did that. And I could use all 3 colors with the black. I could do that. Let me do that. And the easiest method I told you guys to do is turn on the 8 by 8 pixel one so you can see where the divide is, like that. And the divide of the bricks would be like this. And now I've got a brick wall. And now I can make the highlight at the tops here and here and here, and make the shadow on the bottom and on the right, or I mean on the left like that. So on the bottom and on the left like that. So now I got some bricks that I can put in. But what I really want to show here, and maybe I'll do this too. Well, oh, not that. Sorry. What I want to show is like the back of my player's head or something like that. Like I see he's waking up in this sort of mysterious brick space. And you know what? Just to make this, do that and that. Okay. So we're going to wake up in this mysterious space. So in order to do that, just going to wake up in a room full of bricks. I'm going to make a large sort of silhouette of my character, and this is going to be sort of the crappiest stuff that I've ever done for sure. Remember how I made the silhouette of the character, and the iconic silhouette. We talked a little bit about that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn off my 8x8 grid so I don't need to see that. I want him to be basically this big. And I need to do this kind of quick. So I'm just going to just rough in. I would get way more particular. And there are some other tools that you could use that would allow you to like take a photo and put in actual photo graphics and things like that. And you could use NESmaker to do that too. We're not going to do that today because we just don't have that kind of time when we're doing these quick 20-minute tutorials. And I want to try and stick close to 20 minutes. But you can see that this is like the back of someone's head. And I might even make this all in shadow. This is just my silhouette, which ironically, it would work better as a silhouette if it was all like a solid color, but it's okay. So now that I've got this in this color, you can see it's kind of the back of a person, sort of. And then I'll start adding some details. So, in fact, I think it would work better if this is just a silhouette. And I could like, make sort of a face like he's looking this way. And I want his, I want to see more of his neck. So I'm going to come in a little bit. And then I can fill this in. Anyway, and he'll be in a brick wall. And just in case I don't like the way that this brick looks, which is totally possible, I might not like the way that that's going to look like a mustache. So if I pull this off, I want this to look like he's kind of looking away. This is terrible. I don't like this, but it'll do for now. There we go. So it's kind of like, oh, little mouth there. All right. So that's fine for now. But what I might want to do is I might want to also have like a larger brick. So I'm going to use this exact same technique, but I'm going to use this on a larger brick like this, just to sort of give it a sense of place. I'm going to do everything I did, except I'm going to make it double the size. So 2 lines of, come on. Sorry guys, this mouse is terrible. Like that. And then, gotta get another mouse. Anybody have that problem? Where your mouse thwarts you? Actually, it should be here. I'd like to use the rectangle tool, but for some reason, come on, mouse. Like that. And then I use the light color here. And so this is going to suggest that, it's a cutscene graphic. It's not the actual gameplay graphic. And I've got this larger thing, and I could even put like one of the statues in here might look cool. But you get the idea. And I'm doing this the long way so that you guys can sort of see my approach. But all this you could probably have fast forwarded through, to be honest, because it's just me making assets, which is one of the problems with doing these 20-minute tutorials, is I want to show you the entire process of what I would be thinking when I'm creating one of these. But we get moments like this where, you didn't really need to see me make a brick, right? Oops. And do this. You didn't need to see me making these bricks. This I could have had pre-done, but I want you to see the whole process. So that leaves me with a challenge. So let's just say that this is fine. Like I'm gonna have a shadow like this. I'm gonna have the bricks like this. And I don't know. Maybe I'd create a door or I'd create some other stuff. Again, I've got a couple tile sets worth of stuff, but do I? Because I could take these 3 rows and pop them right here, right? And it looks like I've got a little bit right here that I'm going to have to copy and paste here. So I don't need this or this or this or this or this or this or this anymore. But I do need 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it in these 3 rows so that I only have to use one, what's it called? One background tile set. And I'm pretty close. So this face is going to go and this is going to go next to it. I'm going to lose this row and I think I can live without it. With this 1, 2, 3, 4, I would need 1, 2, 3. I would need another tile. So I could make this come in a little bit more. I could lose the regular size brick maybe. If I really, really was desperate. Or I could use a whole nother sub palette. But you know what? I think I'm going to be fine. I'll just lose this bottom row here. I'm going to grab this, copy it, and put that into my BCK CHR 06. Save it. Go to my overworld. And come here. And now, my tile layout, what I can do is totally back on everything I said I was going to do. So I'm going to go main. And with this one, I'm going to go to this, which was 6. And I'm going to keep my letters and numbers in there like that. And you can see that's why I usually say leave the first one completely blank because this is what happens. But not a big deal. I'm going to go to my palette. Oops. Sorry, palette 3. Yeah, that one. And I'm just going to grab one of these black tiles. I can just grab that and just let's paint. And then I'm just going to copy this, hit escape, shift, select that, Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Just filled it in. And now I'll grab my silhouette. I'll figure out where I want to put this. Like I'll put that there. I'll put that there. I think I had another, tile right there. Yep. Get rid of that. And then I had his nose, which I think had another tile under it like that. Yeah, there we go. So that's a person kind of with a gasp sort of look, looking away over his shoulder. And he's going to find himself in a room. Whoops, missed it. Here. In a big room with bricks. Or maybe it's 2 rows. And I'm going to have it, now I can use this and put in a dungeon, question mark. A D U N G E O N. Again, this is the stuff I wish I could fast forward through for you guys, but it also gives you a way to catch up. Dungeon, question mark. And so I don't want to put this guy sort of at the, I don't want to put this guy all the way at the bottom because this will get cut off. So what I could do is I could just keep it black, or I could do something like this. But you see what's happening. I'm off of the attribute grid, which if I look at this, The attribute grid is a 16 by 16 area. So what I need to do is I need to decide to move this down by a tile. It's kind of hard to see because there's no indicator, but I'll do that. I'll move this down by a tile. And then I'll just take this whole thing and I'll move this down by a tile. Control C, Control V, and then I'll make this black right here. Okay. A dungeon, and I can put I need to escape, whatever. Give some instruction, some narrative context here. So now I've got a cheesy cutscene. I could also put a cutscene monster that walks across or something like that. Like I could put visual elements with sprites in here too. But if I look at how that plays, sorry, press start, and it goes here, a dungeon, oh no. And then you wake up in the dungeon, right? So obviously I can go back, I can make better art, but you get the idea of how we can create a very simple little timer for a cutscene. Now, what I also could do, just putting this idea in your brain, is let's say I wanted to make a string of screens, and then at the end of one, I'm going into like the next floor, right? I can make a staircase, and that's going to be this next set of screens. Don't forget, what happens here is when I do the whatever, it goes to this screen. It warps to this screen. So when I get all the prizes, it goes to the next screen, which is whatever is listed here. So what I could do is I could have this screen go to this screen go to this screen, this screen go to this screen, this screen. Okay. And then on this screen, this is my last screen in that level. I could, instead of having it go to level 2, I could have it go to the second cutscene. Oh my goodness, there's staircases. It's only going to get harder from here. Wow, another floor, whatever. I could do another cutscene, and then I could have the same thing happen. I could use that. I could put that timer object in here, and on this one, instead of taking it to 0, 0, this one's warp would take it to 0, 1, which would take it to level 2. And then when I get to the end of level 2, instead of having it warp to the next screen, I can have it warp to the next cutscene, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how you can set up some easy cutscenes that can go between levels to give your game a little bit more narrative context. Obviously, I can get as clever as I want from this narrative, and if I really wanted more information here, I could just I could just make this, instead of the timer sending me to here, I could also set up the timer to take me to this screen. And I could set up a timer to take me to this screen. And then here I'm done. So this timer would take me to this screen. It's a little bit of a waste of screens, but unless you're planning on using 512 screens, you'll be okay. So anyway, I hope that was a fun way to show, like, there's another way to get some extra narrative into your game and some extra context. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do with these concepts. And hopefully that was simple enough. I mean, most of that was just me drawing the tile set. So hopefully it was simple enough to figure out how to add the cutscene timer and how to do things with it involving going to new frame or going to new screens and things like that. Hope you guys are enjoying. Hope you guys bite off games are going well. The games are coming in, so be sure to check them out in the Retroverse. Okay, bye.